Gotta get through this so I can play more Split Fiction. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Saturday, March 8th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. First thing I want to talk about is the fact that Split Fiction has launched. This is the next Hazelight game, the creators of It Takes Two and A Way Out and Brothers Two Spirits, Brothers Two Souls. Anyway, yeah, I played It Takes Two, I played A Way Out, and now I'm playing through Split Fiction and loving the heck out of it. They're kind of co-op, very the levels are very like focused on different mechanics and trying to always very cool co-op puzzles. And yeah, so it's a lot more like It Takes Two. I'm only about an hour or so into it, so I'm not sure when we're gonna get to the thing that pluses it above It Takes Two. It's currently at a 91 Metacritic, which It Takes Two was at an 88. So this one's apparently slightly better than It Takes Two, which already won all the awards. So yeah, I'm very curious. What's gonna set Split Fiction above and beyond. I have been loving it and loving all the tropes, especially the sci-fi and fantasy tropes. But yeah, I'm curious. I have yet to feel where it is kind of above and beyond what I've already experienced in It Takes Two. So looking forward to potentially checking those out. But yeah, let me know if you're playing Split Fiction, and hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Moving on to the generically named Expedition 33. This is the kind of modern JRPG that's very French inspired, and that's kind of what I saw when I saw gameplay this week. A lot more gameplay this week was their active turn-based combat is apparently very satisfying and very keeps you very engaged, whereas you would normally check out in a turn-based combat system. And yeah, it's very Japanese inspired, but also very French because the developers are French. So yeah, this is the first time I'm kind of seeing in-depth gameplay and people kind of talking over gameplay and yeah, it's interesting. I still think the name is very generic, but I'm all the more curious how to keep me kind of engaged during a turn-based combat, because I do love myself a turn-based combat system. But yeah, I'll wait to see more. I don't know that has a confirmed date yet, so I'll have to keep waiting and checking in on that. Neil Druckmann was out giving an interview this week talking about The Last of Us and how Last of Us Part 3 is not very likely to happen. So I think it's quite interesting because they left it on such a cliffhanger at the end of Part 2. So no spoilers here, but Part 2 did not end with more there. I don't feel like there's more there to it. So I'd be surprised if they had worked on Part 3, but I know with the TV show, people are going to be wanting more and more. So I'd be curious. I am curious to kind of like enter back into that world and be pulled back in. So I'm looking forward to the TV show. But more game. I'm curious what more you could do in that world. But as far as a sequel is concerned, I don't know how much there is. So I digress. Monster Hunter Wilds launched last week and is already starting to set records. It is now the fastest selling Capcom game ever. It sold 8 million units in 3 days, so opening weekend. And that is breaking the Monster Hunter Worlds record, which had 5 million units sold in 3 days. I know that it's everywhere. All my friends are playing it and having a blast. I think it's kind of funny that with this increased popularity, some people are even with all of the quality of life improvements, getting on your mount and being able to just run straight to the monster in between fights is very nice and a good quality of life improvement. But a lot of people still want those health bars, which is something that Monster Hunter has never had, is like health bars to see how much health the monster has left, so you can know when to kind of go in there and finish it off. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Like mod sites are already trying to figure out how to put health bars on things. So it's pretty interesting that getting increased popularity means people want more and more quality of life improvements. I think there's a give and a take. I do think that there was something to having to hunt down the monster once it ran away and figuring out where it is. but I also think that that's it's a little tedious and grindy to have to like run to three different parts of the map and uh, figure it all out. So and I have been frustrated in the past. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this thing is like super dead, and then for some reason it just isn't dead yet. And so I also feel like I would want a health bar. I found myself wanting a health bar in my most recent playing of the game. So yeah, interesting stuff. But congrats on the super big accomplishment with Capcom. I feel like everything they put out is always like the fastest and best selling thing. The Resident Evil series. Love seeing like Street Fighter and Monster Hunter. So yeah, excited that Monster Hunter Wilds. And I would have predicted. I'm obviously not crazy enough to predict like best ever went in my own forecast, but I would have predicted that this one would have been like above and beyond Monster Hunter Worlds. Um, yeah, so take that for what it's worth. There was some pretty interesting speculation this week. People keep speculating on what the price point is for GTA 6. GTA 6 representing a kind of big breakout moment and a way to kind of push forward the AAA games industry. I won't go into the whole history of like when we were $50 and then we jumped to $60 with Call of Duty and then we jumped to $70 with the new console generation. And now people are like, hey, could GTA 6 come out with a $100 version or $100 base price? And the speculation was like it could give online currency for GTA Online, which wouldn't be what I would be interested in and probably would keep me from buying like day and date, launch day GTA if it was $100 and all it gave me was some online currency, which I won't be using. So yeah, I do think this represents. I do think GTA does represent kind of this like big shift, but I also don't know that $100 base price is going to be a pretty big ask. It's a pretty big jump. GTA will make all the money regardless of what price point they're at. But yeah, I could see them pushing the envelope again. Maybe we have an $80 base price, and then you can throw in that online currency with some silver or gold edition or whatever. But yeah, $100 base price um, seems seems like a big ask. There's a couple games I probably would have paid $100 for. I already did pay $100 for like collector's editions or premium editions, but a base $100. There's a couple games I'd probably say I would pay $100 for. Something in the Witcher series, Witcher 4, I'd pay $100 base price for, just because I know I'm going to spend 200 hours in that. But yeah, whether or not the next Call of Duty game needs to be $80 or $100 base, when they've been slowly cutting out the campaign and it just becomes multiplayer stuff. Anyway, I digress. Pretty big tangent there, but yeah, interesting if GTA does make a move in pushing the base price of AAA video games. Marvel Rivals is already starting to look towards like Fortnite for inspiration on how to handle some of their characters. They are, starting to think about what third-party crossovers they'd want to do, bring character skins in from outside of the Marvel universe, which is interesting because Marvel has like 80 years of content that they could dig through for like alternate costumes, over 80 years, alternate costumes and different, ways to see their character. So I'm pretty sure that, they don't necessarily need to go to third party and like we don't need a Mario skin in Marvel Rivals. So yeah, it's interesting. And that's what the community feedback is. Give us more alternative skins from within the video games. Who would have thought that making Overwatch but video game or from comic book themed would make comic book people come out of the woodwork and say, hey, give us more comic book skins. So interesting to see what kind of crossovers they start with and if they don't just keep giving new characters and new skins for the same characters from the history of Marvel Comics. So that'd be interesting as well. Sony has started up a console rental program in the UK as well as in Japan, and is apparently going really well in Japan. And yeah, you can like lease a Sony console for like $20 to $30 a month for like 1 to 3 years. I think was like the lease programs, like 12 months, 24 months, or 36 months. So yeah, you can lease a PlayStation console if you just want to play the next Bloodborne game or go back and play some God of War, any of the God of War games. So it's pretty interesting idea. I'm Microsoft is already playing in the living very close with PC, so Sony's got to continue to sell those consoles or put those consoles out there. So yeah, maybe they're looking interesting idea. I know that I've definitely been in like local shops where they would rent you out an N64 for a couple days, so you could go play whatever the latest N64 game you wanted to play with. But doing it from the manufacturer is pretty interesting, and I'm curious whether or not this becomes a money driver for some of the, I guess, consoles that are sitting on the shelves. Even though Sony is winning the console generation war, they still have like consoles that they're burning shelf space that they want to like lease out to people. It seems pretty interesting to me. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be pretty popular, and I definitely know some people who would uh, rent a console for a short amount of time to play through whatever the latest um, popular game is. So exclusive game is. Moving right along, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3-4 remake that we talked about kind of leaked last week. They got announced. It got announced later that week, as well as a collector's edition, which has a pretty cool kind of Birdman limited edition skateboard, which is pretty interesting. I think that sounds like the perfect thing that it would get a lot of pro skater fans to buy a premium edition is throw in a skateboard that's limited edition. Should be pretty cool. So I'd love to see that kind of on my shelf. Or I wonder if anybody would actually roll on it. So interesting to see that. Cool game that I'm excited for this year called Hell Is Us. We got a little bit more information on what to expect in that game. It is very much leaning into the immersive portion of their kind of immersive action RPG. Like half of the game is action RPG, but the other half is like a very much like an immersive storytelling game. Kind of in this like post-apocalyptic world, and it doesn't have a HUD, and it doesn't have kind of like the Ubisoft points, and you got to like go check them all out. So pretty interesting stuff there. Hell Is Us is one of the games I'm looking forward to this year, and yeah, getting to see a little bit more of the kind of immersive narrative side is very was very interesting to see this week. So I'll have a link down below for you to check that out. Last but not least, as a major fan of Jackbox games, I'm excited to see that they'll be going consoleless. So no longer will you have to worry about who's bringing their Nintendo Switch or their Steam Deck to the party so that we can all sit down and play Jackbox. You'll just be able to play it on a PC, and I know that they've been working on kind of a hub app that they can kind of get all of the Jackboxes on. I know it's a pretty big hassle when you want to like jump from a single game that you like from Jackbox 3 to a single game that you like from Jackbox 7. So going consoleless as well as having like a hub app sounds like a very good idea to me. So looking forward to that. You can find out more details down below. That's it for this week. Let me know if you feel I forgot anything down below in the comments. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!